Welcome to the garage on Ride By. Today we have a very popular vehicle in the Philippine market, and it is the Ford Ranger Wildtrak. Now, for a pickup truck fans, they may be familiar with the Ranger nameplate. It's been around for, I think, more than 2 decades already. The first generation that was available here was a collaboration with Mazda. Pero this one was developed independently by Ford Australia back in the mid-2010s. It was called the T6 platform. This latest update is called the T6.2, which was launched around 2022. So it has all the modern features expected of a high-end or a top-of-the-line pickup truck, or almost top-of-the-line pickup truck, because a Wildtrak in the Ranger hierarchy, at least here in the Philippines, is probably the second to the top, because the one at the top is called the Raptor. So the Wildtrak, especially in 4x4 trim, is best suited for owners who really need a 4x4 pickup truck that is more of no-nonsense, pang-trabaho, pang-farm, things like that. Hindi siya masyadong dinaan sa forma. But I would say that it still looks pretty nice. So the Wildtrak 4x4 is outfitted for all-around use. It is not meant to be a true blue off-roader unless you put some modifications to it. If you look closely here at the tires, these are 65 series 18-inch Goodyears. Pero as you can see, the tread is already caked up with mud. It's already rainy season. So these tires are what we might call all-season or all-terrain tires. Pero I would not recommend these for serious off-road use dahil dudulas talaga yan even if you engage sa low range. These plastic things over here at the fenders, at first you might think that pang decoration lang siya, like a weird blister thing, but they're actually removable. So they actually can exchange some heat, so may function yan. And on the other side, I am told that you can remove the plastic little fairing over there para may daanan yung snorkel kung balak mong tumawid ng ilog. Here at the front fascia, we have what Ford calls their C-clamp performance LED headlamp. So it looks really nice. And ang lakas ng tapon ng ilaw niyan. And these are also adaptive headlights, meaning sa gabi when you're using it, when you turn the steering wheel left, the light will subtly shift to the left or the right depending on where you're steering. So it gives you more illumination where you're actually intending to go. So big slatted grille gives a lot of air for the engine, and overall it's been a few years now that this model was introduced. I say that it still looks nice, has a nice timeless look, which is expected from a pickup truck because these are long-term investments. Hindi man bibilin in 1 year and then next year palit na kagad. Hindi magano talaga, but most people, they look at buying a truck to keep it for maybe 5 years, but more like 10 or even more than 10 years and more than 100,000 kilometers. So aesthetically, hindi siya nakakasawang tingnan. Moving on to the back is where Ford engineers really did their homework in terms of making it a very useful tool. So aside from being one of the biggest pickup trucks in the market today, it also has one of the biggest beds, which really adds to the utility. So the bed measures 1.56 meters wide and long. So it's a square. And aside from the sheer volume that you can put inside, marami siya mga features that add to the usefulness of the bed. So if you look closely here, at the top of the tailgate, may dalawa siyang abang for clamps. So you can just press these down and attach your clamps for your camping accessories. Yung tailgate niya has a tailgate assist. It's not really super damp, but you can drop it without fear of breaking anything. Okay? And then may assist siya so it's easier to lift up. Getting into the bed, the engineers thoughtfully put steps here, the left and right side, so it's easier to climb in. Standard bed liner. And then you have power outlets here. You have two. So you have a 12 volt here that gives you 180 watts maximum. And another one that's AC for 230 volts, 400 watts. So very useful for camping. Or if you're going to use this as a work truck. So you got these rails here. So these are useful for handholds. Pwede mo rin siyang i-double yung rails na to as additional attachment points. You got a roll bar here, which some people might not actually like because they might want to put their own setup. Let's go to the cabin. So, cockpit ng Wildtrak. So it's a very work-focused truck, so you don't expect a lot of fashion flair here. So got a lot of hard angles, straight edges, and all of that. Got a lot of hard plastic, but that's okay kasi pickup truck, gusto mo naman yung durable na materials. Ayaw mo yung masyadong madaling mapapunit or mamantsahan. So that's okay. You got this big 12-inch touchscreen here. Of course, it has CarPlay and Android Auto. Syncing up my phone was easy. It's wireless already with this generation. Got a wireless charging pad here. The only problem is the wireless charging pad is under the touchscreen, so it's hard to reach. So you really need to reach down and get your phone if you need to check your messages, which is also distracted driving. Yung instrument cluster niya is something that I have a hard time liking because it is too utilitarian for my taste. It's basically a big rectangle with smaller bar graphs inside. It doesn't feel at all like something you'd look for in a passenger car or a truck. Para siyang utility meter sa generator or something like that. So there's no charm to it. I think Ford does this with the Bronco as well. I mean, it works because you get your data here, you get your speed, oil pressure, four-wheel drive modes and all of that. Pero think wala siyang dating sa akin, and at first it's hard to understand what you're looking at a glance. However, I appreciate that there are some physical buttons for functions that you can quickly turn on or off as you choose. For example, I can opt to turn on or turn off the lane keeping system with a dedicated button here in the steering wheel. You don't have to hunt for it on the touchscreen. It's good. There's this button here. It's called P, so it's a parking assist. You can turn off your parking sensors if you like. Then this button here is your mode button for your various terrain modes. Then this dial here lets you choose between four-wheel drive high, two-wheel drive, or four-wheel drive low range. And it has an electronically locking limited slip differential. So madali lang siyang intindihin. There's no old school levers anymore. The only lever you're gonna find is the shifter here for the 10-speed automatic. Now with this shifter, this is a function that I've never liked with Ford transmissions. So it has a manual mode for the 10 speeds, pero hindi siya yung conventional na up-down. Wala kang paddle shifters either. You just get this plus-minus button on the side of the shifter, so it's not intuitive at all. And it doesn't really encourage me to use it because it just feels weird. Okay, so for the touchscreen, in general, it's kind of easy to use, but it takes some practice to familiarize where all the functions are. If you press this car icon over here, you can access your phone list, your driver assistance functions, which ones you want to turn on or off. You can access the vehicle settings, like how long can it stay at idle, yung mga windows niya, yung wipers kung may rain sensing ba siya or ayaw mo ng rain sensing. Meron din siyang remote startup kung gusto mo. So let's say na nabilad sa araw yung sasakyan mo and you're walking towards it, you want to get the aircon running already habang papunta ka pa lang, it can do that. Then this is also where your dealer can get some software updates to because a lot of these cars are basically running on software now. They all need periodic updates to work around some glitches that may occur or upgrades. There's even a valet mode, which will basically cut the power of the engine para hindi magkaroon ng untoward incidents when the car is being driven by other people. And this is actually kind of useful because the engine actually makes significant power. How much? Well, it's hard to believe. It's hard to get around the fact that if you grew up in an era where there was no replacement for displacement, na kailangan you need significant displacement to generate decent power, the Ranger Wildtrak gets by with a 2-liter inline-4 diesel, but it has a bi-turbo setup, It makes 210 PS, so that's around 207 horsepower. And get this, 500 Newton meters of torque. That is a lot. That is enough to tow a trailer, basically, or 500 Newton meters. That's basically 5 small cars. Yung equivalent niyan for torque. Yeah. So to manage this, it uses a 10-speed transmission. So acceleration, as you'll see later, it's quite quick. As for storage spaces, I actually like the cockpit because it's very cleverly designed. You've got this space here for at least 2 phones, at most 2 phones. Meron kang pop-out cup holders, edges ng dashboard. The cup holders here, center console, as you can see, they're big enough to hold a 1-liter flask. Then there's one console box here. It's nice and big, so you can put your extra power banks. And for those who like to travel with I think a compact or a micro compact can fit here. Huwag niyong gagamitin yan na dapat malamig ang ulo ninyo palagi. Unless gusto niyo makulong for life. Then, got this glasses holder over here, and basically that's it. Let's go to the back. Okay, for the back seat, standard basic bench seat, but it has a few tricks up its sleeve. If you pull this hook over here, you can put the seat bottom up. So this is where the toolkit is placed, and then may extra compartment ka dyan for whatever you want to hide from prying eyes, contraband, daing, durian, and then yata kasha durian dyan. Then, so just drop it. And then, you can also bring down the seat back. It's not split, so it's a one-piece, pero may foldable center armrest. So if you need a flat storage space, yun nga lang, because of this, medyo this belt will get in the way of whatever you plan to put there. Okay. As for comfort, so I like that may handholds ka dito, so it's easy to get in or out. Decent legroom and headroom, 5'8". Although, as usual, medyo vertical yung almost 90 degrees yung angle ng seat back, so it's not gonna be that comfortable for longer drives. You got basic handholds sa ceiling, map pockets. Then you've got a USB-C and a USB-A port here, a 230-volt, 400-watt outlet here. So that's very useful. You get 2 AC vents sa baba. So swerte nang nasa gitna because these will point right at his. All right, let's get driving. All right, so before anything else, I want to thank EF Off-Road Track Vermosa or Endurance Factory. So I want to thank their operator, Brother Pau Toral, for letting us shoot here. So we don't have time to actually take the Wildtrak for a very long off-road trek out of Manila. Pero this off-road track we'll have to do, and it's quite muddy here, and there are a lot of obstacles that are, it's actually designed for motorcycles. So to be able to maneuver a big truck here would be quite an accomplishment already. So medyo maputik ngayon kasi rainy season na, and we are in 4-wheel drive high. So there are some very deep ruts already on the track. And dito pa lang, a normal 4x2 would be having a hard time. So now on the stock tires, walang problema. The Wildtrak is just gliding along. So one thing nga pala that the underpinnings are different from the Raptor. Kasi with the Wildtrak, you don't get the expensive and fancy, sophisticated progressive dampers of the Raptor. Those are by Fox Shocks. So with the Wildtrak, you just get your regular leaf spring suspension sa likod and then double wishbone sa harap. But even so, they've tuned the suspension really well, so hindi siya ganong katagtag like the old trucks used to be. On the highway, it has a very nice, stable ride na very minimal lang yung vibration. Here on the track, it's very steady, and I get a lot of feedback through the steering wheel, even in a very muddy, grassy terrain. So it's just, I'm just letting the truck glide and find the line in the trail. So medyo maano ngayon, I don't need to use the low range right now. Steering is pretty accurate. So getting some wheel spin already from the 4 tires kasi nga naka street tires tayo. So you can feel It's a very communicative powertrain. You can feel already through the seat of the pants whether the tires are gripping in which end, is it front or back. So in that sense, it's good. And then, here, very useful din yung 360-degree cameras, lalo na pag very tight yung trail. You kind of want to see yung mga corners, yung gilid ng sasakyan mo, para hindi mo siya magasgas. So here, in-on ko na yung camera. And I'm having a very easy time navigating. And I could actually even use this in 4x2 if I wanted to. So actually, let's try that. Two-wheel drive high. So it's a shift on the fly system. I'm just stopping because I want to be able to make sure that it really engages. So two-wheel drive high, try lang natin. So predictably, with just rear-wheel drive, mas dumudulas siya, and it's now having I'm getting some wheel spin already. Let's see if it can crest this little hill. Ayan, wala na. Okay, now, this is why you want to invest in a four-wheel drive system if the budget can permit it. So let's go back to four-wheel drive high. And then, there you go. Okay. So it has 800 millimeters of weighting depth. Ground clearance is pretty good for a stock truck. So I felt may konting sabit lang ng konti dun sa stepboard sa kaliwa. Some people who really want to go do serious off-roading, of course, i-modify mo ito, ililift mo pa yun ng konti, and you're gonna change the tires. Pero for more regular use, sa farm, it should be okay. The stock setup should be okay. And maybe you just need to change the tires. So now, ayan, getting into some deep mud. Now you need to find the line to get out of this spot because it's not engaging. So reverse. Really muddy. Let's try 4 low. To engage 4 low, you need to go to neutral. Okay, now it's in 4 low. Stuck tayo, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, try natin yung mud mode. Yan.
Yun. Ang lupit.
Okay, so we put the truck in mud mode and so we got ourselves out of that very muddy hole. So yun nga lang, pag mga ganyan situation, don't panic. It's organic. Trust your truck. All the same, if you can see na talagang basa or very parang soup na yung terrain mo, don't go there. Unless you have a backup vehicle or yun nga sabi ko, you have very specific mud tires. So got ourselves out of that bind there temporarily. Medyo na-stress ako ng konti. Hindi naman. Marami naman akong assistant dito eh. So let's go back to four-wheel drive high. Okay. Let's try it otherwise and avoid that spot. So, okay, doing another round of this off-road track, this very muddy off-road track. So, keeping in mind nga that we are limited by the traction of the tires, so I will just make a point to avoid the very muddy ruts whenever possible. Dito na lang tayo dun sa may damuhan. Okay, so here, four-wheel drive high range is not having a problem at all. Easy to navigate the truck. Although, because it is substantially large, can't help but minsan sumasayad talaga siya dun sa mga talahin. So, coming into this truck, I was expecting that it would be a very peaky engine kasi nga it's a 2-liter. But the gearing is quite on point and there's a lot of torque. So, it makes peak torque around 1,750 revs per minute pa lang. So, and low speed, there you need more. Just crawling along, walang problema. You just glide along, very, very light applications of throttle to get moving. So here now we're in the grassy area. I'm just keeping it slow because baka may mga biglang malaking lumak dyan. It's tricky trying to avoid the water holes because we don't want to get stuck here. So the 360 camera is very useful now. It even has guidelines so I can see where the wheels are pointed relative to the vehicle. So with that said, very competent four-wheel drive vehicle, even in stock form. Like I said, yung mga magsisiryoso talaga off-road. So this provides a good base for modification. First thing you want to do, change the tires, maybe put a snorkel. Say na yan if you want to even actually raise the suspension a bit more. But otherwise, it's a very good working platform for your off-road adventures. So now let's see how well it does on the road. So, like I said, the Ranger has been in the market for a few years now, and you see them everywhere. You see them in the city, you see them in the provincia, and you don't even see them in the malls and in office parking lots. And I think one reason for this is because it's actually a very comfortable truck to use on a daily basis. I mean, if you're comfortable with the space, with the space that it occupies in the parking lot, well, kaya mo siyang isiksik sa masikip na parking lot. So it makes for a very good daily driver. Like right now, we're in Imos, Cavite, in the Vermosa area, and the ride is very smooth, considering that it has a leaf spring suspension. It doesn't feel like a leaf spring suspension. It feels like it uses coil springs. And then it still has serious payload capacity. I think it's 1 ton or close to that. So there. And then the steering feel, of course, yung steering niya, medyo may kabigatan pa rin kasi nga truck siya, double wishbone suspension. There's a lot of unsprung weight on the wheels. Even so, I like how it feels like a real car. Right now, hindi siya yung parang magdadrive ka ng appliance. And then, even the lane keeping assist is actually something I don't mind. So the lane keeping works by when the sensor sees that medyo nagsistray ka na from your lane, it will gently vibrate to remind you to go back to your lane. So hindi siya yung parang yung mga systems ng mga ibang brands na it very, I would say, violently tries to push you back in your lane. So nakakailang yun. Here, there's a very gentle reminder that, well, you may want to go back to your lane if that is not your intent to swerve, right? And then, in terms of NVH, noise, vibration, and harshness, so Ford's done a really good job of building a drum-tight chassis, even though it's a ladder frame. Feels very, very solid. Parang kang nasa Volt. So there's no vibration, there's no yung judder at speed. The noise from the tires is very minimal. So yun yung benefit of using all-season tires. So they're not the best for very, very slippery conditions. Pero on the highway, tahimik naman siya. So hindi siya nakakapagod gamitin. Even at higher speeds like 100, 120, very, very hushed yung noise from the tire treads. So that's the thing with these tires. I like the quality of the tire treads and the compound also. In terms of braking response, well, solid brake feel. And as soon as you get over the fact that you're driving one of the largest compact or mid-sized pickup trucks in the market today, it's very easy to get along with kasi ganda yung visibility mo. Very predictable in responses. And the power is really good. Considering it's a 2-liter. Normally, I don't expect a 2-liter to have that much go off the line. But this one, it really delivers. A bi-turbo is a very, very smooth system. And I guess the engineers have really done their homework. It's been around for a few years now. So you can depend on it to really keep going for thousands of kilometers. So far, the only feedback I've heard from Ranger owners, mostly Raptor owners, is that after a certain like 70, 80,000 or more than that, you might need to replace your injectors because of the poor quality of our diesel. But in terms of the turbos or the transmission, walang problema dyan. The 10-speed automatic shifts really well. I have to say that I think 10 speeds it still feels like too much in a pickup truck. I think 6 speeds is more useful in the kasi 10 speed in the normal driving, it just keeps changing gears all the time. Although I think they fixed the software because an early complaint with the first generation, with the early T6 platform Rangers was nag-hunt yung gears or medyo harsh siya mag-change ng gears. This one, I barely notice it. And I have to really be listening for the change in engine speed. Ano lang siya, because of the way the manual shifting is set up, it's really not a very user-friendly setup. This button here, it just annoys me. Yung rocker button here, it doesn't really work for me. Parang afterthought lang siya talaga eh. But otherwise, as a work truck, it gets the job done. I just leave it in drive. And then for dicey situations, you just select your terrain mode here, sand, mud, slippery, whatever, and you let the computer do its thing. So this isn't actually my first time to drive a Wildtrak. It's actually my second or third. And first few times, I actually brought it out of town. And tomorrow, I'm planning to bring this out of town with my son. We're gonna have a mountain bike trip in Zambales. So I'm excited to do it because as pickup trucks go, this is one of the most comfortable you can get, especially for long drives. Hindi talaga siya nakakapagod. The ride is very good. I mean, the only way you could improve on it was maybe if you upgrade to the Raptor because it has better shocks. Pero as it is, it's pretty good already. You can only feel the harshness of the leaf springs when it reaches the limit of yung suspension travel niya, yung parang medyo nag-jar siya. But that's only when you bottom out the suspension, which is very, very rare naman on the road. No? And then one final thing, because it's a 2-liter, because it's only a 2-liter, it's reasonably efficient with diesel. Lahat naman tao ngayon gusto magtipid na sa pagkonsumo ng gasolina o sa crudo. So this one, I'm not mistaken, I've been using it in the city pa lang, haven't really taken it out of town yet. I'm getting 9.6 kilometers to a liter. By my experience, once you take it on the highway, extended trips on the highway like NLEX, SCTEX, you're gonna get something like 13 to 14 if you're just following the speed limit and hindi mo masyadong binabaon yung accelerator. So as a road trip companion, Wildtrak is a great choice, especially considering you're getting that kind of fuel consumption and you're getting a lot of features. 4-wheel drive, yung mga ADAS na yan, that leather, auto climate control, all of that. Right, so that wraps up our first ride review, the Ford Ranger Wildtrak 4x4. And like I said, I like it. It's not an overwhelming package. It's not gonna wow you with any single aspect. It's more like a jack of all trades because, looks nice, drives really well, has a very civilized ride. It'll fool most people into thinking that hindi siya ganun ka pickup truck. And it's solid, it's built very well. I heard that Ford ranks the highest in customer satisfaction even right now, well, in a recent survey. So good on you, Ford. So now let's give it our scores. For performance, 2-liter bi-turbo engine, surprisingly punchy and refined, and medyo matipid din siya sa crudo. 10-speed automatic, shifts cleanly and quickly. Although I'm just a little put off by the manual mode on the shifter, it doesn't really satisfy me in terms of engagement. So I have to give it an 8.5 out of 10. For handling from the front double wishbones, rear leaf springs, and street tires, it's actually very good. It's not a sport truck like the Raptor, syempre. Pero for what it is supposed to be, it's an all-around family vehicle, work truck, farm truck, and all of that. Does the job really well. It's comfortable. It's not going to be a fantastically handling truck, but overall I have to give it an 8 out of 10. Styling. I actually like the styling of the Wildtrak more than the Raptor. It's a more mature and conservative look because I'm a conservative person. So it doesn't have the fender flares, it doesn't have the big ass tires. So it's what you expect from a work truck, but still may design flair pa rin siya in terms of the design of the grille, yung C-clamp headlamps dito, and gloss, tawag dito, matte gray or silver gray o maputik na yung mga wheels niya. So styling, 9 out of 10. Utility. Okay. The cabin, I would say it's quite easy to feel at home in the cabin once you get accustomed to the complications of the touchscreen. Unlike na marami siyang mga lalagyan, pang mga bote mo, yung mga abubot, and all of that. But especially the bed takes top marks kasi ang dami niya mga abang, mga attachment points, mga power outlets. So it's a very ideal vehicle for camping or kung balak mo siyang gamitin na parang generator for your accessories. So utility, 10 out of 10. Value for money. Right now, it's priced at 1.950 million, which is it's in the middle of the ballpark figure for fully equipped 4x4 pickup trucks. Parang ganun din naman yung presyo with the other brands, give or take a few thousand. So All of these features, advanced driving aids, trick four-wheel drive, very powerful diesel engine. It's a great value. So I have to give it a 9 out of 10. One caveat though, right now it's priced at 1.950, but in a few weeks, as of this time of filming, the excise tax exemption for commercial vehicles for pickup trucks will lapse. So magkakaroon ng malaking price increase among pickup trucks. As I believe this truck in a few weeks will be priced at 2.4 million or so. Ang laki ng price increase niya. So for those who are planning to get a pickup truck, you better get it now and save yourself a significant chunk of money. And for those who don't have the cash yet and gotta get a pickup truck in a few more months, well, I'm sad to say, but they'll just have to eat that tax. Overall ratings, like I said, it's a jack of all trades. You know, it doesn't do any one thing well, but overall it does a job really good. You know, I don't think twice about bringing this to work, bringing it to the mall, dadaling ko sa farm, which I'm gonna do later today. And you know, it's a very useful vehicle na if you could actually use it as a one vehicle for all your needs, pwede siyang family vehicle din assuming you have the parking for it. But for those who just need it as a work truck, it's a really good package. So I have to give it a 9 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out the full review in our website, www.rideby.ph/garage. Let us know what you think in the comments.